everybody's getting ready, we're gonna open the council meeting. We're gonna stand for a moment of silence, and then Dawson South will be leading us in the pledge. Dawson, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business today will be to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve as sent out. Printed.
I'll second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. It's unanimous. It's approved. First thing we have on the agenda this morning, besides the minutes, is health insurance discussion. Is Mark Nance available here this morning?
He's here.
Is he in hiding here?
I hear him back there.
There he is. Mark, you want?
Probably won't work with you.
You're on, Mark.
I didn't know I was first, sorry.
Mark, we brought you here today kind of a discussion of this report that we got, so, did you,
I don't have the report, so I'm a little disappointed.
do we have a copy of the report that we're gonna be looking at for him? Here you go, Mark, you have a copy of the report. We have some questions on that, so, anybody wanna open with questions for Mark?
Well, maybe going through, because when Michelle sent it out to us, I went through and looked at the amounts of what we apparently have spent this year versus the amounts we spent last year. And there's quite a few acronyms on the list: CMCS, HR, or Cooperative Management Care, CMCS, HRA. Why don't you go through those and tell us exactly what those are and what they mean to the county insurance premium budgetary issues?
Okay. At the top of the report is Novia Care Clinics, and obviously that's going to be for the clinic out at Jeans. The CMCS claims, that is going to be your claims dollars that were spent. I'm not sure if that includes reimbursements back. I don't know how you're counting what works, but you would have been total that claims dollars spent, you would have had some reimbursement back. Last year I think it was about $35,000.
Is this just somebody that administrates the money for us?
CMCS stands for Cooperative Managed Care Services. That's what it stands for. And there are the TPA, Third Party Administrator.
Okay.
It's like they're like for the insured employees, they're like an insurance company. They would know any different. They get a card, it's a CMCS on the back of it. They go and there's a network. It's just, but they're actually a third-party administrator, and they pay claims for you. So they pay the claims, you send them the money, and then they pay the claims. The next line down, then they do they run it through the network. They do all that adjudication and all that stuff. The Cooperative Managed Care, I don't know what MONT, I don't know what that means.
I won't
that would make sense. That line, it appears, would be what we call fixed costs. So that would be your fixed costs. The claims dollars up there would be variable based on the amount of claims that you have through the year. The lower line would be fixed costs. In that is going to be the third-party administrative fees. It's going to be a premium dollar for what's called the specific deductible or specific premium. And that is, you've got two types of protections here. Even though you're self-funded, it's called partial self-funding, because you're only self-funding up to a certain limit. So you're self-funding, you have a separate deductible on each individual insured, and then above that, you have insurance.
And what are those limits?
That's 70,000.
Individually 70,000. And what about the aggregate?
The aggregate, that's going to change every year. So like in 12, the aggregate is 2.82. And in 11, the aggregate was 2.037.
So we could potentially have to pay up to 2.82 million.
You could. Then what they have is that they have another number which is called expected. So like last year's expected was 1.696, and at the end of the year, total, you were at 1.488 with their numbers based on this. Now, that's not going to include like the clinic and some things like that, but, and then out of that 1.488, you would have had some reimbursements back. Also, I don't know where in your, there's nothing in your report about that, but you also have, I don't remember the number, but it's several $100,000 that comes back in employee contributions. I want to say it's,
For 2011, I had 167,130.
okay. I was gonna say it was a couple hundred, but
Yeah.
whatever. All right.
So how does, well, wait a minute, what's the expected for 2012? What's the expected number?
1,734,
$1,734,000.
334. 214 if you want the rest of it.
Okay.
1.734214.
00.
27.
27. And,
That's
okay,
expected, but we could be up to that 2 point something.
you could be.
Million, that,
The 2000, if you look at what Ben handed you, look at what Ben handed you.
Yes.
You'll see at the top, it says 2011 employee contributions, 167,139,500. Right? Did you not print that one? It's under total, right, all the way at the top where it says 2011, and then start going down the columns. Mark, you don't have that?
We don't have that.
You guys don't have
you
it?
got it, Mark.
Well,
Okay, no, you
No.
must have, okay, well, let me ask it this
I'm
way.
reading it twice, I don't see
Yeah,
it.
okay, let me ask this. She's got total employee, 2011, she's got 2011 employee contributions, 167,139. What should I look at when I look at that figure compared to the CMCS claims, cooperative management care monthly?
Well, I
I
would
mean, does
take,
that,
yeah, that is common. You compare that to something, what I would take that against is your total number. Like, I would take that 167, like, I would take it right off the total you got, 1671.
one?
That's what I would take it off of.
Okay, so if I
Subtract it off of that.
subtract that off
Yeah.
of that,
Less than that.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I would do.
That's
Okay.
what we would have paid out.
Right.
And then that's what we would have paid out.
Because that, the way this is written, that would include everything. What I'm looking at here is from TPA, which doesn't include, well, like the rent, it doesn't include the clinic numbers.
Okay, all right.
So you've got all that added in here, and when you take that 167 off, and that's where you are. And then the report that came out at the end of the year last year, they do a report on the lower right-hand side here that shows contracted claims, it shows aggregate claims, shows all that, but it gives a percentage of where you're running. And last year you were running good, and the year before you ran pretty good. Aggregate claims as a percent of expected claims is 82%. Aggregate claims as a percent of attachment point is 66%. So I mean, the attachment point is another word for your max. We call that attachment, means after that it's all over. So you were 66% of the max on the claims. Again, with the clinic, you're gonna have to add those numbers in, which she's done, so that gives you a better picture overall.
What Michelle gave us, the 2012 figure on CMCS claims
Yes,
is as of April 23rd, is 52% of what our CMCS claims were last year.
right.
What should that tell us as a physical body about what we're looking at the rest of this year, or does it tell us anything?
It's skewed. That's 600, you're looking at the 620,000, right? That's skewed considerably.
Does that mean that but does anything in here, anything in here be a red flag that come November, somebody's gonna come in front of us and say, we gotta come up with $200,000 to stick into the insurance of the county to maintain our current insurance?
This year, you are gonna have a larger cost than you did last year, or that would be my expectation, put it that way, yes.
And do we have any idea how to plan for that, in terms of what that amount of money may be and when that may hit?
It's probably gonna be around 300,000.
And when will that hit?
Well,
Or has it?
it's hit, but
Well,
it's
you
really
haven't
gonna
even
show
paid
up
for it.
towards the end of the year.
Okay.
Because you're like pulling, money's already approved for a total year, you're just using it early.
I got a question for Michelle. What was the total? I know we got some health insurance money in one department, some in another, some in general fund. What was the total amount of money budgeted out of all those departments in the general fund for healthcare? Health insurance.
But I don't have those figures, because I pull it out of each individual fund, put it in one main fund, 4,700. Let me see what I received into that.
And Mark, also that'll depend on the experience factor between now and the end of the year.
Exactly right, that's exactly right.
Good to have a number.
You may have one going up, you could have the other down, down to cover health policy.
That's true, but you are, you're protected out for the rest of the year on each individual employee. You're not gonna have one employee or whatever that's gonna go way over, because you're protected. Each individual employee is protected. You're
Up to $70,000.
correct, correct. Now, what can hit you is that you could have, and this would just be the general health of the group, you could have 10 people hit 60,000. And so, there again, wellness, I'm trying to push wellness. And through the clinic and through other means, that's the big thing. That if you can keep the healthy people healthy, you're gonna have the ones, you're gonna have the cancers, the Crohn's, the heart attacks, you're gonna have that stuff. But if you can keep the healthy people healthy versus, increasing the number of people that have the big claims. There's numbers, all kinds of numbers. I mean, I just saw a new report that said 82% that was done by Purdue and IU. But I always use the number 70% of healthcare costs are due to lifestyle choices. So those things you can affect. So if you look at claims dollars, and if you can affect 70% of them by encouraging people to eat right, exercise, lose weight, whatever, if you can encourage people to do that, you can affect your claims dollars. And that's really the only thing, the bottom line is keeping people healthier. That's really the only thing you can do, is keep people healthier. You're gonna have the big claims, and you're gonna have the preventive stuff. You're gonna have that. And you can't control costs. As any entity or body, you can't control costs. But you can control whether you use those costs or not. So a healthier group, you're gonna have less claims dollars. It's just the bottom line. Healthier group, you have less claims dollars.
So you think that's an accurate number? Well, that's what bothers me, is that we budgeted $1.340. And even if our expected is only, is 1.73, we're still $400,000 short.
That's if everything goes well.
Yeah.
Everything goes well. I mean,
they set that cap out there at 2 point whatever million was on the high side, I hope.
Yes.
But you have the potential to have that disparity from that number to that number, or any place in between that number.
That's true.
There's no safety net between there and there.
But
Once you get over that, we gotta,
Also gotta remember, Al, you would wanna add on the 1.3 whatever, you would wanna add on 167 or whatever this year would be. So that's gonna get you to 1.5 something, 1.6, whatever.
all the employee contributions.
Yeah.
Because that's real dollars, that
Yeah.
raises your total.
In real dollar sense, though, we're still looking at maybe $200,000 before the end of the year,
Yes.
even looking at everything to be really nice.
Yes. And there was just nothing you could do about that.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Well, one of our issues that I've seen in there is that we learn of this premium notice in November, and we start our budget process in August. All of our departments and all of our budgetary items come in August and reviewed and scrutinized and all that. And we've got this wild card with the insurance that comes in as of November. Is there any way for us to get that back toward more of our budgetary process?
You can get it back earlier, but the problem is you're not gonna get any carrier to give you a number like, we really, we got 4 months into the year, and even by August, you guys are talking about it at least in June and July. And so you're looking 6 months prior to the end of the year, you're asking them to rate basically for the next 18 months. Because they're looking at 6 months here, first half of this year, and then you're asking them to wait 6 months and then give you a number for the next 12. And
So how do they come up with their number? I mean, is it based off of last year's performance? Do they go back and weight anything and average it over a 3-year window as far as what your cost has been? Or do they just project the new rate off of what happened last year?
they look what's called forward underwriting. They don't look at the back and say, oh, we lost X amount and we're gonna have to make it up. They look at forward underwriting. So, and that's why they wait until the last minute, because they wanna know what is there, it's gonna be in next year. They wanna know what they've got that's come up. So they look at it, and that's what all the reinsurance carriers, they get lots of information, claims dumps. I mean, they get all this information, and they get reports on any kind of high expense case. And so they look at case management notes, they look at all that, but they're looking at forward underwriting. Say you had somebody that had preemie twins, okay, big dollars, right, last year. If they're healthy going into this year, that won't even be a factor. But if you had someone who they just found out a month or two before the end of the year that they had some kind of stage 4 cancer, but there's not been very many expense dollars this year, that will be a factor next year. So it's forward underwriting. And that's to me, that's good, because you can affect that by becoming healthier a lot quicker. And if you've been, had been having, expenses because of being unhealthy, and then you've got to get healthy for a while before, because if they're looking backwards all the time. But if they're looking forward, you can affect it quicker. And that's what they do, they look forward.
Do you have any documentation that our workforce is getting healthier?
No. Do we have a wellness program?
Yeah, that's what the clinic is.
Yeah, that's the clinic program.
We have documentation that they are accessing the clinic more, that they're getting preventive stuff done. But as far as documentation on the workforce being healthier, no. We've got instances, and I don't know who they are, but I know we have instances from the clinic that they have found stuff early, which that's a huge thing, but you can't quantify that. I mean, you can't put a dollar on it because they say they found a cancer early or found something else early. So it's hard to put a dollar figure on that. But, I mean, there are instances of that, yes. It's getting the employees more involved, and that's tough to do. I mean, when, I tell the story, when I grew up, there wasn't any fast food in Salem. And and I'm not against fast food, but it's easy when you're in a hurry to run through, get a sandwich and eat on the road. And that's not a healthy lifestyle if you do that a lot. That's just one example. Now, also when I grew up, there wasn't any gyms in Salem. You know, now we've got a couple of fitness centers and the Y, and you know, so we are moving in directions like that. But the other thing too is if you're really wanting to push wellness and really have an effect, there's going to be some cost there. There's not any reports though that doesn't show that ROI on spending wellness dollars doesn't pay back. But again, when you're looking at, crunching numbers and running on the edge, what's your risk tolerance basically to go ahead and spend a little bit of money? I mean, we could do a HRA, health risk assessment, and the way we do them, we would have high percentage of participation. We would have a little issue because it's always hard to get with some of the departments because of their working hours and schedule and things like that. But once you get that report back, it gives you some information, and then you can actually look at it and say, okay, we're great on this area, we're not, there's 8 different risk factors that comes back in this report, and you can look at that and say, okay, we got 3 of these areas we're doing great in, we got 5 of them we're not, let's target those. And then also in that report, it shows where people are in the stages of change, whether they're in contemplating or pre-contemplating or if they're actually ready. So you would know that, okay, you got a lot of people that are just thinking about weight loss, but you got a bunch of people that are ready maybe to stop smoking. So maybe then you would do education on weight loss, but you'd actually do some kind of smoking cessation because there's more people ready for that. So this report tells you that, kind of directs you. This last year, I went to Wisconsin and went through a certification program to be a benefit wellness advisor. And basically, in a nutshell, what you do is you're taking a risk management wheel that's been applied to the property side for a long time and moving it to the benefits side, where you actually go in and you do analysis and reporting, and then you come back and you put in some kind of, it's called controls, but basically what it is you're putting in something that people can be involved with. And then you come back around, and a year later you look at it and you say, okay, where are we at? And then you would have some data, because you would have some hard data saying, okay, we were at X% on weight last year, and then we're better or worse this year. You would have some data there. That's about, we don't charge anything to do it, but it's $15 a person to run through the system to get the reports back. So it's pretty inexpensive, but when you got 100 people, that's, yeah, so.
Okay, has anybody got any other questions for Mark?
Question on this, and insurance, especially with families and, them putting in there with the employees, accepting a family policy and different things happening with families, such as one that's graduating from college and coming off of a policy, and having that information relayed so that it's taken off their premiums and off of their payroll checks. What kind of correspondence is there with the insurance company and the auditor's office as far as getting all that type of stuff worked out?
Right now, I've got the issue, or the biggest issue, is with Lincoln, the dental carrier. And right now, I've got them running a list of basically it's every group I've got, because Lincoln's the only company that doesn't, for some reason, have in their system. They say they're trying to fix that, but in their system where it pulls people of a certain age and notifies them. So they're running me a list now so that I can take and say, okay, I got 10 people here at the county and 10 people somewhere else and 8 people here and whatever. And then we're going to contact those people, let them know. So that was the fix that I came up with, because they just leave them on there until they're notified.
And then also, as far as if there is a employee that leaves the county employment in there, are you notified to take that off of that, or how is that done?
It's supposed to be an email sent, supposed to be sent to us and CMCS. so that everybody knows. And then also then we would forward it on to Lincoln, or they can forward it to Lincoln. I'm not sure if the auditor's office does or not, but it's supposed to be that CMCS gets an email. There's supposed to be emails floating around, and then that way we've got dates. One gets caught in a filter or whatever. All you gotta do is pop that email and it's got a date on when it was originally sent, and that's no problem. Any company will go back and use that as verification.
So that's what you're using, verification of a timed email.
Yeah, it could be a fax, but to me, it's just much easier to have an email because it's got the date and everything right on it.
Do you know of any instances where we've been paying for county employees that's not here for insurance for a period of time?
Yes.
How many?
Maybe at least 3. Did we recoup that one? I don't think so.
Whose responsibility is that? At the time this happens, to get that to whoever they're supposed to get it to.
Wherever they're supposed to turn in, I don't know how the county, I assume a department head is supposed to notify, I'm assuming they're supposed to notify the auditor's office, is that, I don't know, is that right? And then somebody's supposed to notify us and CMCS, so we get ours from the auditor's office, but I don't know how they find out.
How many, in the county have a family plan? How many family plans are on the county?
20 something at renewal, 26 at renewal.
I really, as far as in my position and as a county council, since the health insurance is becoming such a high percentage of our county expenditures, I would feel a lot more comfortable with some more solid figures starting out in the budget process than after the fact, because in November, we've already submitted in to the state our first plan, for them to review. And to me, it's an incomplete document when we come in, which you maybe say in theoretical of having a $300,000 increase in premium. That's a significant amount of money that it needs to be addressed in a budgetary process.
Well, but actually, the 300,000 that is increased this year, you wouldn't have known that at any point last year, and it's not even going to affect next year. I mean, it's an additional cost that you wouldn't have known last year at any point in the budget process, or you wouldn't even know in November. And now, this year, it shouldn't affect next year. It's just a one-time thing. Now, when you're talking about this, it made me think of this. And I don't know, so I'm throwing this idea out. If you could get numbers earlier if you changed your renewal timeframe. However, that would mean you'd be renewing in, I don't know, June or July or sometime right prior to budget, and you would know, or renew in August, that budget, whatever, some kind of date. And you would know ahead of time then. I don't know though how that would affect your budget, because part of the year you'd be paying one number, part of the year. So I don't know how that, but that is one way that you would have numbers when you're making a budget process. So that's.
But if I understood you correctly a while ago, when they're looking at what next year's premium is going to be, they're not looking historical.
Correct.
What they're not looking at any past and saying, oh, we lost this amount of money, so we're gonna have to raise premiums to recoup where we're at. They're taking some analysis of information that they have.
Right.
And making a guessment on what that's going to be for the future. They're projecting out based off of some sort of,
What they're looking at right now. Right.
yes, some
Right.
assumptions, and I assume there's a set of assumptions that said they just fill in the blanks for those assumptions, whatever they might be, number of family plans, number of this, number of that. I don't know, what they look at overall. I think they'd look at several different items within
They
the
do.
general
They look at
makeup
lots.
there of the
Look at
unit.
lots of things, right?
So,
When is the expected figure calculated?
At renewal, I mean, the expected figure and the aggregate, all that is calculated at the same time. Actually, what they do is they do the expected number, and then they take a percentage up to do the max. That's right. So they really are looking at that expected number. That's where all the calculations goes into.
The only option we have is just to budget more money than we think we're gonna need. And hope that we.
You know, that's the wild card I don't like.
I think though that most times, at budget time, we always come in low. And we come in low, I don't know whether it's wishful thinking or whether it's, I mean, we usually, we're always low.
That's 3 or 4 times a year.
I mean, and after 3 or 4 years of coming in low, it looks to me like we're gonna put a figure down next budget time, much closer to the 2.82. I mean, I'm not saying we have to go that high.
I'm following, because I think we budgeted in there $980,000.
Well, we did for the, I don't know where I was, we did for the commissioners, but then we had 490,000 in other departments.
Okay,
so it's about
For a
1.3
total of
total.
1.34.
Yeah.
okay. Then that question, and when we look at these figures in there, we're just not looking at the county employees here with this sheet, you know, that Michelle had drafted up that you looked at? Or would that have the families involved in that? How many,
Yes, it does.
what's our population against this?
Well, you got 26 families. This is a renewal, so I don't know what you've got right now. You'd have to,
How many insured people?
I think I did.
Population.
Sure, I don't think I printed off the current, because I didn't have the month current. Because this is May, and I don't have April's, and I didn't print this. At the top of each monthly report, it shows how many people you've got. And so like in December, you had 96, in December of 11, you had 96 and 24. And at renewal, they were actually looking at 94 and 26. So they pulled that.
That was individuals and family, 96 individuals.
Right. And that would have, that'll vary a little bit, but not by much.
But you don't know the number of total people, how many people
No.
within those
No,
families?
I don't. I can get that number, but I don't know.
All right.
Well, there's just so many unknowns even when you go, once you cut the deal's cut, there's such a dynamic, unforeseen illness and unforeseen this and unforeseen that, changing the employees, there's so many things there. So I think what Doc is saying here, we're looking at that, we could actually, even though we budget that 1.4, we could be closer since the cap. And I don't know what it costs to lower the cap, it's probably astronomical, I don't know. But the cap has an impact on how much premium pay, obviously, so, I don't know which way to go there. I'd have to
Well,
really give that
whenever,
another thought.
at renewal time, when we look at it, I just call it a sweet spot, because you can raise that specific, that individual employee deductible, you can raise it, but as you raise that, then you're paying, if you raise that, you're paying less premium, okay? But at some point in time, when you look at the totals, it costs more to do that, because you're paying more in here.
You're paying more out of
Right,
pocket.
so there's
for
a,
the-
right, so there's a
for
sweet
the
spot
surplus.
in there, and that's what we did last year. I mean, we looked at an 80 last year, but it was higher. So,
Well, the commissioners have to take a hard look at that when they make those decisions.
I think the contract probably needs to be, like David said, move down the line if it's possible to get a closer look.
The only consideration I have, and I don't know if it works out mathematically,
January then.
is that we've got a short window that you would work with adjusting, making your notice of premium, right? Which you, if we have a bunch of big expenditures or claims and stuff in that short period of time, then it will look worse, correct? As far as.
Yeah, be sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying, like, say, if this year we
Correct.
wanted to renew early,
Yes.
or change early, they're still looking at forward.
Okay.
Right, they're not looking back. That's
Okay.
that's my point.
All right, well, my suggestion is to get it more retrospective to the budget. Because I think that this continuing issue, to get a more pertinent figure, you know, for the insurance to work with the budget process, if it works closer to whenever we look at that budget than afterwards, it is a more viable number for us to work with, so we don't have to make so many assumptions on ourselves.
Okay, so let me be sure I'm following you. So you're saying your budget is from, like, let's just use next year, January 13 to December 13,
Yep, we,
okay? And you're setting that budget in August of 12,
correct.
okay? And if we renew, let's say, in August of 12, so you'll know your numbers in July, June, July, all right? Then you're gonna pay that one premium from August of 12 to August of 13. So then you're gonna have August 1st. So then you're gonna have August, September, October, November, December of 13 that you still won't know what your premium's gonna be.
And if you're below, if you have an extraordinary cost, that's gonna hit you in February, March of the budget year, or of the calendar year. Well, that wouldn't be too awful bad, because
It's just, I'm just
trying
trying
to
to
think how your cash flow
You
goes.
still won't know a full year of your budget number, because you're only gonna have that 12-month contract time frame from when you renew to when it doesn't. So that means now it's gonna be in January, it's gonna be August to August,
Low.
and you're still gonna have 5 months at the end of 13.
Because we collect in May and, yeah.
But I mean, I'd be willing to talk to them and try to work through that, but just so you know that you'll be paying from August to August, a fixed number that you know, but then those last 5 months of the next year, you won't know.
And then see, you're off budget. I mean,
Right.
your budget is calendar year
Two different
budget,
budgets,
yeah.
really.
I mean, I understand, see that, and that's the thing that, I mean, DGOF will tell you, yeah, we look at an 18-year, or 18-month
Right.
period. That's what you would like to do, David, but I just don't, I don't see how that's, you maybe get 3-year averages and try to hypothesize some that way.
Well, we need to try to be able to get more, better numbers.
I understand what you're saying about that. That would be nice, sure. Yeah. Because the other side of the coin, from what we used to do, was inflated, frankly, to some degree. And then, as we got closer, do some transfers, quite frankly, if we needed money.
I mean, we do quarterly meetings, you know, which says here's where you're at. But again, we could do that in the, you know, July timeframe, August, but it's still past your budget time. We would have a quarterly meeting in July, but that's only telling you, here's where you are today, here's what we've got on the horizon that we know, but that doesn't mean that you're not gonna have somebody in November come down with something, and that's gonna affect next year's numbers.
Just because that part of that's gonna move into the next year.
Right, correct, right. There wouldn't been any cost probably in this year, but if they get it in November, then
Yeah. It's an ongoing deal with the self-insured. And that clock
Well, and
resets
even-
on your cap too.
and even fully insured too. I mean, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna rate you up because that's what's coming. They look forward to fully insured too.
Any other questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for the information.
because it all changes then.
Okay, next item on the agenda is gonna be these abatements. I look back there at you and Sabrina. You wanna present these, or you want me to just go ahead and present them? Okay. Okay, we've got two abatements to deal with this morning. One of them's gonna be with International Wood. And let's see, let's Blue River Holding, and the one for International Wood here is for personal property, and looks like a heating system, compressor, conveyor, bucket, chainsaw, edger. I know somewhere on there was a list that told us what year we're in on this. What year is it?
It's in a new one, isn't it?
It's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not a new one. I just want to know what year we're in.
Starting date was 1/1/2010.
2010, okay.
So you'd be second year.
Okay.
Sabrina, do you have that? Do you have a date or
Yes,
a time that you think they're in?
If you look at the resolution number, that's the year that it started. It looks like 2007.
Okay, so actually then
Yeah,
you're
so
5 years into it.
5 years into it.
So you're down,
Yeah,
you're downhill at this point.
Any questions on the abatement?
I move that the personal property abatement for International Woods be approved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor of the abatement signify by raising your right hand.
So, actually, why don't you say it's a continued renewal, just saying that more for the media, that
Yeah,
it's
continued
not something
renewal.
new, it's just we renew the abatement, which we're supposed to do.
Okay. Next on our list is, we have two from Blue River Holding, one for real estate improvements. It looks like an addition of a 2,400 square foot building, and this would be a renewal as well. And we have one for personal property, which includes the purchase of a door manufacturing equipment, and has a resolution number of 2004-14 on both of these. So I'm going to assume they started in 2004, so they're going to be
2004, 2005,
continued,
so
yeah, continuation.
they'd be pretty much getting to the end.
Getting to
I
the
mean,
end.
they're only getting 30 to 20% abatement at this point.
Any discussion on those?
I'll move we approve the Blue River. Nope. We'll take a vote at the same time.
Can't.
Real estate.
Take a vote at the same time. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from John Reynolds. All those in favor of continuing the abatement signify by raising your right hand.
You got something off of
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah,
signing.
I think Sabrina's coming up, we signed in the wrong place on the last one, at the last meeting, so we need to re-sign some and,
You got them highlighted?
let's make sure it gets signed.
Where we at?
These are the ones you just approved, you just approved today, and it's up here, right, is where, so.
I'm sorry. I caution.
That's okay. We debated that the last time.
They did it the last time and we were wrong.
Yeah, we had 50-50 shot.
Yeah, Sabrina was kind enough to point that out.
Actually, you had several that were above their limit numbers from last year, so we're probably good this year.
That take care of everything.
And I'll give them back to you.
Okay, we're moving a little bit ahead of schedule here just due to Mark's time, and it didn't take 30 minutes to take care of that. With no objection, Jess, if you want to come up, you're next on the agenda, you and Sabrina, to give us an update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before I get into this, could I continue with the answer that I gave Doc Short last time about abatements? I gave you half of the answer why you use them. I did not answer the fact that why you were interested here and get them shortened up as gift to get them on back on the tax rolls and get them going. And that I neglected to get in detail that. So that you look at it two ways. One, you do everything you can to encourage them through abatement to get going. From your standpoint, you want to get them on the rolls full bore. And it's an exercise, really. You've used it very well. Wanted to just chat with you, by the way, I had Steve Hunt again this morning. Hopefully he's making a lot of signature loans and helping the economy. A couple of things I wanted to just bring an update on, or update you on. For the past year, the partnership has been operating, I'll use the word static. We've had some problems with the city where they have stopped funding as of last fall. You're familiar with the situation around that. Tom Fahey, who was then the president, went down and talked directly to One Southern, and it displeased the mayor, and so as of, we sit here now, the city is not funding. I've heard it in meetings with the city, we've had several, discussed, well, maybe they'll fund, maybe they won't, or they'll put in a lesser amount and do a incentive plan. And we're at the point where we've got to do something. So what I'm here to tell you what we're planning, if you have questions about it, or if we should do it different, we're going to go ahead and continue building a strategic plan based on what we have to work with now. And that may be good enough, or it may not be, but as it stands right now, I do not think the city, and that will mean the city council will do any funding. So it'll be just totally what the county does. The thing that probably, and some of you in the room have been in the meetings where I have not been with the city, and you probably know more about it than I do, but as I see it now, the city is going to have its own economic development activity, if you want to use it that way. I would be fairly confident that they're going to hire a consultant to do a strategic plan. David and I were in a meeting with the mayor and some other people 2 weeks ago now, and another meeting coming up towards the end of the month, and I would believe, from what I gathered from that meeting, that's the direction the mayor wants to go. How we can access, we partnership can access that, I don't know. You know, we're going to work, we're going to cooperate any way we can, but I think it's only fair to you to tell you what's going on with us and where we stand in the whole thing. Now, another thing that has kind of bothered us to this point is a legal matter with Lana Sullivan. We had thought we would hold off a bit on getting an economic development director because sometimes EEOC, and Mark would be more aware, know more about this than I do, obviously, you'll get a edict to go back and pick them up, put them back on the rolls and pay damages and that. But nothing has happened there that I'm aware of, and on the advice of our council, we're just going to go ahead and do what we can and see what kind of a director we can get or how we can do with the funding we have. And we'll bring that to you when we get it. I don't think we can and just sit here as we've been doing. Now, we have been getting inquiries in, we've been responding to those inquiries, but the follow-up is where we fall short. Nobody's doing it. Other times, I have enough problems now that physically that I can't do it, so I think we need to step up and get that known. We'll bring a plan to you, and you like it or you don't like it. If there's things that you want to change, we're there to do that. One other thing, going around to the community type of thing, and following on Mark's discussion here, Sabrina went to a seminar put on by Hoosier Energy within the month. It's a community assessment, and I think, do you have those here, Sabrina? It's an interesting read. Now, these are things that position your community for economic development, and when you see it, this county cannot D-. Now, you gotta remember, that's graded on a curve, and everybody knows what a curve will do to you sometimes. But the other thing in there, and speaking of your health and that type of thing, we also got a D- on our human capital, which says we're not a very healthy county. Now, what this tells you, and I'm not gonna go into a lot of discussion on it, this is looking at our county through the eyes of an outsider, what they see. We get graded down on social amenities, lack of restaurants, lack of a motel, that type of thing. So, to develop this community, we've got a lot of work to do, that's all I'll say about it. And the other thing Sabrina did for you, she made you a chart here that makes it easy for you to go through. Now, the counties that we're showing here, the neighboring counties, and they're the ones that are members of the South Central Group, which we're a member of, and we participate and use that group. They just come back from a 10 days in Germany. They brought back a lot of leads. We will follow up on those also. We did not send anybody to Germany because, again, the matter of follow-up, there's no point in spending a lot of money when we're not going to be able to follow up as we should. One other thing I'll move to be quick about it. Approximately 2 to 3 years ago, we had designed a virtual building, and you'll see that in your packet there. In other terms, a spec building. Now, one of the things that I told you earlier we're seeing is now we're getting away from greenfield opportunities. Everybody wants something that's up and built and going. Example of that is, as you all know, we worked with Abilene Foods for 2 years. Put a lot of time, put a lot of effort into that. They ended up going down to River Hills and occupying a building down there. It's already built, it was vacant. So there's another one going. But the thing that we're finding is kind of interesting, and is the seminar that Sabrina went to pointed out that 78%, you improve your chances of getting a client or a prospect, 78% if you have an available building. Now, what we intend to do is to go back out in the marketplace and price the virtual building here. Before anything is done on that, we obviously will come back to you, because in my own mind, right now, I think that would have to be a public-private partnership. I don't think the county's got money enough to go out and build a building and that something's gonna happen yet. I think there's got to be private commitment and somebody to help market it. Now, in the past, we have worked with, or contacted and interviewed 2 companies that will do that. They'll come in and build a building, and then they'll they'll work in the market for it for a fee. Obviously, they're not gonna do it for free. Now, we go back and regenerate all that again and bring that to you and see what you wanna do with it. That's pretty much where we're at. But we do plan, and we're starting it with our next board meeting. We're going ahead with finish our strategic plan to, to hire or to acquire an executive director, and we'll base that off of what funding we have here. And right now, I'm gonna say, I think that would just be the county. I don't think the city will participate.
Year to date, you haven't received any money from the city.
No. Well, there's another interesting thing there, and there's a meeting this Thursday, with, the Radius president. See, we have been getting some development money out of Radius. Now they're saying, well, if you're gonna have two development groups, i.e. city partnership, we're not gonna fund. They don't wanna make the decision of, yeah, you fund here, or no, you don't fund here. So right now, I gotta say that we're out of that. And I don't really know how to negotiate that until we find out for sure what the city's gonna do.
What did they do in their 2012 budget? Did they allot any for, I forgot now.
They gave us, 35,000 was, earmarked for
That's radius.
marketing.
That's radius.
Okay.
Radius, yeah.
35 for
Marketing,
2012, or 2000 this year.
last year. We don't have anything for this year, for 12.
Okay,
Normally, see, we get that in the first quarter
right.
of this year. Now, speaking of that situation, so you know about it, we have the same situation with Duke. I did talk to them because, they had supported us, then did not for a while, and went back to see what they were doing again. We get the same answer out of Pat Moore. You guys in the county up there, make up your mind what you wanna do. You're gonna have, you're gonna have a city group, you're gonna have county group. So, right now, we've got a lot of problems. No point in hiding it from you again. I think they're resolvable, but we're kind of in a problem until we get the decision from the city what they're gonna do.
Yeah, we got problems.
No question.
You know, I've sit into some of those meetings, I've heard a plan, you know, a strategic plan as far as economic development. But, you know, as we go through that, how involved these two groups are gonna be able to go into it. You know, of course, the talk was to hire a consultant, develop a plan. I see some ideologies as far as properties and what to do with them, you know, that are quite different, you know. And some of them are tangible as far as if some things actually happen or not, you know, as far as development. And bring it up, it brings up to a financial obligation for the government. I brought it up to the mayor, you know. On our county council, got two more increments of $75,000 if this airport deal goes. And I challenged the mayor that we had to have something more in concrete that's gonna happen before I think that the county needs to let that money go for that. I hate to see, you know, I want something more tangible. There's been some changes as far as the funding, you know, goes out. And the city has said that they're gonna come up with that extra money. They come up there to make that, for our in-kind, or as a community or a county government, for that airport project. But some of this ideological things as far as development hinges on that airport property. It does. I see a lot of ideas. I see a lot of dream ideas out there, but I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of concrete, tangible things. And plus, it was brought up in a meeting that they were to do some things maybe out there toward that airport section, you know, in the next year or two, as far as acquiring property, and then asking the county maybe if we will help out, you know, in a manner of $30,000 or $35,000 in some infrastructure to make that happen. Well, that would be good if it brings jobs, you know, into it, but they're not tangible things, but that I'm really seeing in concrete. Of course, we gotta still keep an open mind for ideas and vision of what to be done, you know, out there to allow business to, you know, kind of flex their wings and actually expand. The county government, when we're dealing with tax dollars, we have, you know, I hate to say that on the airport that we spend $225,000 out there in funding the airport doesn't happen. That won't look good at all.
I think we kind of discussed that at budget time last time, that we need to see some progress. The other thing is that when that agreement was reached, there was a real sense of cooperation between where the city was going and the county was going. And since then, the city's kind of gone off on its own. I mean, I know I've been kind of out of the loop on a lot of this stuff for the last couple of months, but I don't think we need a separate city thing, a separate county thing. I think we need one thing.
Well, I think that what Jess just relayed to you, that the outside people looking in thinks that we need one too.
Well, part of the mayor's plan around the airport, you know, is to have a tech park out there.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure how this will.
I don't know, there's some infrastructure that's gotta go in out there. I've been told that there's gonna be work done out there in June.
We heard the same thing the other day. Yeah.
Be nice to see something out there.
What I'm hearing today is not what I'm hearing otherwise. So I think that probably somebody from this council, and I look at the commissioners, need to get together with you guys and the mayor, and we sit down, we find out what is the plan, because I said in a meeting, you know, that described what was going on, and to be honest with you, I kinda like what I heard, because there was some forward motion being made, okay? Some things happening, looked like, you know, potentially something was gonna break loose and move, and those kind of things, but I'm not hearing that from you this morning, so I think rather than discredit anybody's statement or what anybody's saying, I can't do that because I don't know until I hear it from all parties together. But I think we should be able to sit down as a government body, commissioners, council, the economic growth development, and the city, and work out something where we take the community's thoughts in mind about how we're gonna help produce jobs in this community and forget another direction, but we come together as a whole and begin to go down one trail together that we can all agree upon would be a wise decision to help raise jobs or create jobs, you know, for our community. So I think somewhere, and I think you may have said some of those same sessions I said in.
You know, I go to these different meetings and I'm seeing all the parties that need to be there.
I'm not either.
Well,
And I'm not saying anybody's doing a bad thing right now, I'm just saying, until we decide to get together as a group, as a whole, as a community, as people who represent the community, and we keep having this session, we keep having that session or that session, until we get together and we make some decisions about which direction we're gonna go, that is not for the betterment of Ben Bowling or David Hoare, and I'm even gonna throw Doc Manship in there, not even for his betterment, but for the betterment of the community. We're going to be having this same discussion another year from now, or another day. I think we need to
you're absolutely right, and the only reason I'm here is the city operates over here. You were invited to the meeting the other day, David Brown was there, David Moore and I. You had a representative there,
Terry McNeil.
Terry
McNeil was there.
and, but you're right. As you go from meeting to meeting, you know, it gets frustrating as hell, is what are we gonna do? Because there's this over here and that over here, we heard it again the other day. And all I'm doing here is telling you what is told to me, and I'm bringing it here, because we're not gonna do
Right,
anything
appreciate
until you
that.
put holy
I'm
water
just-
on it.
Well, we got an A rating on government. Why did we get an A rating on government in
Because you
DC?
guys are here.
Is that right? Well, I feel pretty good about that, Jess, you know? Looking for a good grade, we got D minuses there, but the government, but so how do we do that?
Indiana proud.
Is that,
Thank you, Indiana.
Indiana proud.
that's the thing. And we as a funding, we want to put a proper taxpayer money where it does the most benefit. And whenever we're buzzing around with all these different ideas and we're not pinpointing anything. And I looked at this economics thing in here as far as what we submitted for and we did submit for in this, and then, I see some of them, I have questioned why we didn't go after, but, there's a lot of material here. There's a lot of different direction, there's a lot of different ideological ideas and direction. And we as a financial part that's trying to promote and do this, we're challenged with our edit money being spent this way anyway. Correct. It's been specified off and they're getting ready to do an economic development plan right now where they use this 75-25 ratio that's been enacted. We've got to justify that the 25% is doing something.
Sure. Well, something that we've tried to promote for years, several years, is to get more of the type of meeting going in February. Our board is open, and you put representatives on it. How about somebody here serving on the board? The commissioners, up until this year, I'm sorry, John was the county council that you had had. But, I would welcome, because I know our board would, something you involved directly. And I know you had meetings at the wazoo, I understand that. But, we're talking about jobs in the county, we're talking about how to get them. The partnership is trying as best it can. We've answered to a lot of inquiries there, the reason some of those, that project may not have been something we really want to chase with, but there's a site selector behind it. We want to talk that site selector. So, there's all kinds of reasons to do it, so. Anyway, we'll be guided by whatever you want to do, that's about what I can say about it.
Any other questions for Jess? No other questions, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rhonda Green.
Hey. I have 10 copies of the presentation. Let me see if I can turn this on.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
This Google's Apps and Calendar, is this something that you're presenting to be utilized at the park or here or?
I'm going to be doing this presentation or something similar to all, government entities.
Okay.
And this is something that I'm not being paid by Google. This is not anything, What I'm looking for is simple answers to our communication needs. And when we,
Okay.
yes, okay. Let me go ahead and see if I can make this work. Brand new thing. I have 10 copies of the presentation. Okay. And, because that's all I printed off. Let's see what I got here. Come on now.
Ron, is this something we need to kill part of the lights for, will we have a good?
Let's see if this bad boy can do this. Come on now. There it goes. Okay. Hold on. Full screen. There we go. All right. And we may have to. It has to find itself. It's plug and play. It's not plugging and playing very well, but that's all right. That's not video. Come on now. Computer. There we go. Oh, okay. Computer's talking to me. I have too many things on this. I'll get this down sometime. Here, hold on. All right, I have a copy of the presentation. I have 10 copies. Do you guys want this or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there you go. I'm gonna give one to Michelle, just
Yes,
because. Yeah, and that's good for him. I'm gonna give one to you, and I'm gonna leave one for Doc. Do you need one? Yes. Okay, now I have, I'm gonna give one to you. And I'm gonna give one to Marcia. All right. Like I said, this is a new tool. This screen. Oh, okay. All right. Basically, what I've been doing is trying to find, as my community project for life, or whatever, trying to find easy, simple ways to not only connect the community, but to go ahead and bring jobs to the area, all that kind of stuff, just community development. And this is something I've done, on my own, and it's a hobby, all right? So what I want to do today is to just kind of introduce you to Google Apps. And so, why Google Apps, what they cost and how they work, how does a regular website work, just for an educational purpose here. Reasons why we don't have a community website, and really address that kind of situation. We've talked about it for years, it's not happened, okay? And there are reasons why. And how this relates to your organization or business. This is something that I'm going to be doing with not only the government. I would like to see you guys kind of plug into this kind of thing, and you'll see why. But also with businesses and that kind of thing. Google Apps has a lot of applications to write your own website and all of that, okay? That is helpful for businesses and all that kind of stuff. And a possible solution to what I see as one of your problems as far as like communication in the government, and then why I'm doing this, so that you actually know what my motivation is, because, I'm not getting paid by Google, I'm not doing anything like that. So that way you guys cannot, get weirded out. You're going to be weirded out, but, not weirded out in an unnecessary thing. Okay. Once again, I've been looking for a way to go ahead and connect the community. Okay, not only connect the community, but get the businesses that want to be online, an all-around package that is inexpensive and easy to use, or really relatively easy to use. Okay, and I had to ask my sister-in-law for help, and she said Google Apps. You can either use Google Apps or you can hire this person for $1,500 to build something for you. But she said Google Apps is free, and she's a programmer from way back. And so I said, okay. So over the last year and a half, I've been working with it and trying to use it and see if it works and all that kind of stuff. So Google Apps has, and it's provided by Google, all right? Anyone can log in, you can get your own account, you don't have to ask permission from anybody. It's available to all if you have an internet connection and a computer. It's relatively easy to use, you know, it has a big smiley face kind of like atmosphere about it, you know, here we go kids, let's go. It's got a powerful suite of programs. It has email, document sending, websites, and a calendar, which is what I want to focus on today, okay? Consistent program setup. If you have a group of people that use the same programs, okay, if there's a problem in one sector, you don't actually have to go to, you know, people aren't maybe as comfortable asking, you know, someone from, you know, online to fix it. They just go to their neighbor and say, look, you know, I'm having this problem. Have you had this problem too? And, you know, that's, you know, plug it into our, you know, our community that way, okay, helping your neighbor. Google Apps is free. It's free, okay? It's free. You can get another program that is $10 a year. You can get a program that is $50 a year that has all the suite and all that kind of stuff. And there's another one that's like $120 a year. But that's not even, you know, but you can do a lot with the free account. It has extensive video support. When you have a problem, you can go ahead and ask it, you know, Google, and say, I have this problem, how do I fix this? And they usually have a piece of video that shows you exactly which buttons to press and all that kind of stuff. Bonus. And then the programs work together, okay? Especially the calendars, which is once again what we're going to concentrate on, okay? The whole point is to find a way to allow our community, organizations, and businesses to become self-sufficient and communicate with each other. Okay? That's the main point. I did this presentation in Google Apps. Because I'm cheap, this is my free account. Okay? So all of this presentation, it can be published online, it can be, a lot of wild and woolly things can be done with this, all from a free account. Now you've got, you know, I just wanted to go ahead and put a picture of what their rates are, you know, Google Apps, the free ones has, you can have up to 10 users, you know, you've got email, you've got custom email address, email calendar, documents, and team sites, where, you know, websites, okay? So there's that. Okay, now I want to go ahead and just touch on, do you have any questions so far? Anybody have any questions? All right. I want to touch on just a basic characteristic of what a web page does. You know, one of the things that a web page does, you know, so that maybe you can like see this happening later on, is that it goes and fetches. Okay? A web page will, what it does is it's not like a regular page of paper, right? The code is actually loaded in to the computer through the browser. You know, and really just don't think too much about it. You know, just all we want to have here is the browser makes the connection to the website. This right here, this line of code tells the computer that it needs an image file, where to go get it, and how big to make it when it loads into the page. That one that's highlighted, okay? The browser goes and gets the file, which is right there. There's the picture, and it loads into the page, okay? So it fetches. And that's, you know, any questions? Okay. A regular website works is you have a webmaster that makes the website on their computer, okay? And so it loads files up to the server, and they look just like this, okay? But the webmaster is the only one that can really change the website. Okay? And so they load it onto the server. The server is on 24 hours a day. The software works with other computers that ask for files and delivers them in a way that doesn't mess with the website. Okay? Just two basic things that I wanted to talk to you about. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. Community website. This is ideally what we see as a community website. And this is me being a little bit snarky, and I apologize for that, but I've heard this for years, okay? That you've got all these pristine organizations, they're in their little boxes and circles, you know, you have the information going to the webmaster, which is represented by the angel, right? And the information is the small children. And so the webmaster gently puts the information onto the website. You know, everybody's serene and happy, and the trauma's averted, right? Okay. This is, and once again, I apologize, this is me being snarky. What actually happens is you have a bunch of people in groups that have personalities, that have their own agendas, because they're human beings. And you have this big line. You don't just have like one school, you have three. You don't have one individual, you have many. You have more than one charity, you know, and here you have the webmaster, okay? There isn't enough money in the world to try and take care of all the people in our community, just in our community. The information comes in through an email, you know, on the desk, in the grocery store. You can be walking through the grocery store and, you know, once you put this on the website, well, you need information and all that kind of stuff. So you have this big pile of information that you try to funnel onto the website. Okay? What if the webmaster is upset with you and doesn't like the person? You have that too. So the pipeline doesn't work real well. I mean, it can work. I mean, it's not bad in every situation, but as a community website, you have too much information going through one small little pipeline. Okay? You know, personally puts the information on, doesn't get it right sometimes, accidentally leaves someone's out, someone gets hurt. So you deal with those emotions also. So to try to take that situation out where, you know, you don't have someone regurgitating information up on the web that may not be right, and you just cause pain and sorrow. Okay, are there any questions? All right. I want to see now, this is how it relates to you. This is how the information, and we've seen a case of this already with the Economic Growth Partnership. Okay, and all of that. You have meetings that are happening. Not everyone's invited. You know, here's all this information. And I don't know if the auditor's office, God bless you, is legally the one in charge of getting all the communication together. But that seems to be what happens. There isn't enough money in the world. There's too much information over here to really get, you know, this, you know, way too much information being handled to follow the law a lot of times, to keep the public informed and keep records accountable. Now, you guys do a really good job with what you've got, but there's just so much information, okay? And this is in real life. So this is not just something that happens with a website. This happens in everyday life, in businesses, and all that kind of stuff. If you don't know and allow for the size of information that has to go through, mistakes are made. And in business, you lose money. In government, you lose credibility. Not that you've done that, okay? But this is what can happen to this. But it's a natural thing and it happens, okay? Are there any questions? All right. Google Calendars and a possible solution. You know, once again, I do not work for Google. What I've tried to do is find a way to go ahead and maybe deal with all of this information. Okay? Google Apps is free. When you sign up for Google Apps, you can go and open up a calendar. Now, a calendar seems like a funky thing to do, but yeah, a calendar. You go to the calendar, open it up. There's no limit to how many calendars you have. You can, there's several things you can do. You can keep it private for your own use. You can make it semi-private where viewers only see you are busy. Or you can make it public, and you can even embed it into a website so that people actually see the details of what you're doing. Okay? Okay. But the main point is that you control that account. You know, as a business, I can have a base candle product, you know, calendar. It's in my account. No one can write on it unless I let them. Okay? Are there any questions? All right. You can post stuff if you were another calendar permission. You can have, or it has to be mutual, but if you give another calendar permission, whatever's listed on one calendar can automatically be listed on another, and vice versa. Okay, so this is automatic. All right. It's an automatic thing. Are there any questions? Okay. But still staying within your account, your communication solution. What I would like to see you do, just this one thing, is to set up a calendar, a Google Calendar called Washington County Government in your own account. Make it not only public, but embed it in a web page and link it to your regular website. Okay? You would have control over it. No one else. You would have control over it. Ask the variety of boards to open up their own accounts and set up their own calendars to make sure that they set it, and make sure that they set them as public. Okay? Attach these calendars to the government calendar so that when they update their calendars, the government is automatically updated. Washington County, or the government, has a bunch of boards that you appoint people to that have no real way to be made accountable or have automatic information given out, the schedules, the timing and stuff like that, where it's at and all that kind of stuff. And as a government entity, that wears away your credibility. It does. If you have no knowledge of them, they can't be made accountable. Not that they're being evil or stupid off to the side, they're just not being shown to be part of the government. Okay? One simple way to look at it is they're not in compliance with the open door laws. If you have all of these people or organizations have their own accounts, be able to post information up on the web that they really should be giving out to the public anyway. Their dates and times of their meetings. I mean, you can even have a map to where the meeting is at. And when it's automatically posted, when they post it to their calendar, it's automatically posted to the government calendar. When it's automatically posted to the government calendar, just this one simple thing where you have to have posting notice of a meeting 48 hours ahead of time, you can have those papers all over the county. Okay? But if you have this, it's within the laws of the open door laws to have the posting in one place. If you have all of these meetings out in these satellite places, you can still post notice of the meeting 48 hours ahead of time, say like someplace in the courthouse. That would automatically, you just print up a page. It has a print feature. You print up a page once a day of the meetings that are going to be held 2 days ahead of time, and then everyone's in compliance. But not only that, you have the meetings up online where somebody can go ahead, if they are interested in attending and want to have more information about the agenda or anything similar to that nature, they can go to the website. Okay? Are there any questions?
Just one.
Yes.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So basically, for this to work the way your intent would be for it to work, would be every board in the county to have their own individual board tied to the one county board.
Right. It would be their own account. And it would be their own calendar. It would be, but the information that's on their calendar would be shown on the government calendar. Okay? So, in a lot of ways, that would be a lot easier than showing up at the meetings. That would be a lot easier, if you know that there's something going on and going wrong, then you kind of know about it. So like with, there are several times when information is not gotten out. Well, what do you mean you had a meeting? you know? That would be an answer to it, okay? This is not something that I want to make you do or anything sort of that nature. This is just an answer to a possible problem, okay? Why this would be a good thing. Not only would you have information from that particular board, they could put up all the information, they could put up their minutes, they could put up their time and dates, they could put up their whole schedule, and it automatically feeds to the right place, okay? That takes care of, too much information, okay? The webmaster only has to load the web page once, but you still get active content. Once again, the web page itself is loaded once, like from the beginning, and one of the activities that a web page will do is it fetches. So whenever that page is loaded, it fetches the current information. Okay? Just a little bit of a 101 web page seminar there. The information comes from the source and can only be changed and uploaded by the source. If there's a change in the meeting, the organization can update it from anywhere that there is a web connection. I can manipulate it from my phone. Got a new phone, been made to use it. I can update it from my phone. Okay? Anyone else with or without a Google Calendar can get an automatic notification of a meeting change or of a meeting. Okay? On a cell phone, email, or on the computer. So the people who want to be notified in the general public will be notified and in the way that they would like to be notified. You can still have the grocery store, it's like I'm a squirrel, I would say. You spot somebody over by the cantaloupe and you say, I need to talk to you, and I've done this before. There's a meeting over here. Well, they're gonna go ahead and get their cantaloupe, and they're gonna go home and they're gonna forget. This is one place that's controlled by you and the variety of members, okay, that they can go to. And they can be notified by. I have it set up on my phone, a meeting happens, and, an hour before the meeting it says Droid, okay? That's fun for me. That's one of the ways I'd like to be notified, okay? So are there any questions? Okay. Why am I doing this? All right. I really do. I want to see businesses and organizations use the free tools to benefit themselves and the community. There are other applications with the Google Apps, once again, that are free or next to nothing. You have the website, which I wanted to make sure that you could put a PayPal button on it or a Google button on it, so that you could take payments in. The email, you can have a mailing list, the documents, and once again, this presentation. Google Applications, if I've got this right, and I may be trying this out pretty soon, has the ability of chat. You can have online meetings and presentations, all from a free account. This is not just for government, but also organizations. I've talked to a few that are really excited. An alumnus group. They send mailings out every year, and it costs them hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You can go ahead and get an online site where you can take donations, where you can set up the calendar to put out, where it goes out and it tells somebody what they want to know. Okay? Very excited. It's inexpensive, and in their account, no one else has any power over it. They are the ones in control. And it can actually plug into another calendar. It was mentioned that it wouldn't be a bad idea for the newspapers to have a calendar that they allow people onto in organizations. That would be a marketing opportunity. It all plugs in together. That is actual economic development and growth. You empower the small businesses where you get the most employment possibilities. No one can mess with them. There's no webmaster Nazi out there that's going to kick them off. If they kick them off, they have other opportunities. Okay? Good government. That's another thing. but you guys know that. And I would like to see a real community website. You know, that's the thing. A lot of these organizations are, you know, shooting around in the dark. You know, they have a, you know, everybody says, you know, unless you're with the right people, it's like, oh, well, we don't really have a good recycling situation. Well, over here, you got to talk to the ones in charge, whether, you know, they know it or not, that we're one of the top in the state on recycling. You know, the assumption that something's not going on doesn't mean that it's not going on. And when these other organizations go ahead and step on all these other organizations' toes, you get just like a room full of 2-year-olds, you know? And this is what I've been seeing, you know? Well, I hate this group because they did this. Well, you know, they didn't know. If you have a community website or several community websites where you can actually see what is going on in these other organizations, other churches, other businesses. You know, a business can go ahead and be a part of a calendar where they can go ahead and put a coupon up. They can have the date of the sale. They can have a map. They can have, you know, a link to their website. This is true economic development. Communication is power. Unity is power. Okay? And then the last thing, I'm going to write about it. This is not just local. Indiana Proud is not just a local site. Okay? I sell internationally. I sell nationally. Finally, the numbers are getting back up to what they were before 2008. I'm getting my son, you know, fixed up and taking over the business, and I'm going to go on to this. And I'm going to write about this. I'm going to write about how you deal with this, and if I didn't do a good job presenting it, so that other people in other communities can do this. It matters to me whether you do this or not, but it's not my place to succeed or fail. Okay? Because this addresses, it ain't going to happen, Rhonda. And I'm a full-fledged Campbellsburg, and you say that to me, I'm going to say, well, by golly, it is. But this is not my fight. This is an opportunity for you to succeed or fail at this, if you choose to do this. Okay? So, same thing with the business, same thing with everything. So if you don't do this, that's okay. This is what you've decided not to do, and that's okay. Don't do it to spite me. It's not, you know, that's not where the level is. Okay? So, there's my motivation. All right? Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Okay? The last one, I gave you a couple links. I went ahead and put WashingtonCountyIndiana.info up. It is, and I've been playing with it. I haven't posted any real meetings or anything similar to that nature on it. Okay? But you can actually look at it, and I've been playing with it to make sure that I'm telling you correct information. And then, of course, Google Apps, that's the line where you go to. I think I'll probably go ahead and put this whole presentation up online just as a unit so that you can look over it again. And then go ahead and reassess how this went. Okay, is there any questions? And I want to thank you for your time.
Any further questions? I want to thank you for your time and the expression of interest on my behalf, but I'll have that conversation outside of this room with you
That's cool.
on this particular subject.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. All right, let's move along here, Dave. Other business. Got a couple of things we want to discuss today. Nothing I think we have to take action on, but I think we do have to make some postings. Received a note here that, the current pay for the full-time prosecuting attorney is $127,280. However, beginning July 1st, 2012, this will increase to $130,080. I think we just done this a couple months ago, which also means that we have to change our salary ordinance, so we'll have to advertise and that kind of thing. That'll impact the sheriff's salary also. So we'll have to make an adjustment there, and I assume we'll do all that, Michelle, and have it ready for next meeting. And then we also have a situation that we're probably gonna deal with, or not, we will deal with at the next meeting related to some employees that work in the courthouse. They're kind of an ongoing deal. So we will be addressing that at our next meeting, and hopefully we can get Judge Medlock to attend, and we can hopefully get this thing hashed out and resolved at that next meeting. Does anybody else have anything? I'm going to ask who's going to attend the meeting today after we get around everybody. Mervin, I remember today the commissioners meeting, who's going to attend. But does anybody have any further comments around this table or any issues you'd like to bring up for this body?
I'd like to look at the financials.
Okay.
Email to us. The general fund balance is a minus $78,000. What's supposed to come in?
So,
And how much is that due?
I'm looking for maybe a little over 2 million. General fund is what I'm gonna take a stab at.
Seems like a pretty huge number to me coming in where we're at. Of course, this is 2 months in a row that we've seen this kind of progressing to this point. I guess that I want some assurance that our finances are fairly stable in the county. I'm seeing progression. We've questioned it the last 2 meetings and stuff, and now it's a bigger number. And some of the answers we get is that we've got money coming in, to take care of it. That's all well and fine. I'll acknowledge it. I don't like this statement at all, because it seems like it's after the fact, some of the issues. So I have some real concerns about where that figure's at. And, in the process, whenever we come in with revenue, of course, we don't know what we're giving the state, but it seems like it's coming in a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks. It should be about this amount, but we're trying to work with Josh around finances and stuff with negative figures here and there, and making assumptions what's going on. It's not a very good science. I don't like it.
What I don't like is that if we do get 2.1 million, that's basically what we got through May. And we're still $700,000 in the hole. So if we get another 2.1, are we gonna be another $700,000? Are we gonna end the year at 1.4 in the hole? I mean, I don't understand why we're that far back. I mean, we send a budget into the state, they tell us we're gonna get this much money. I don't think we've spent more than our budget amount in much of anything. They told us CAD was gonna be this, that was gonna be this, tax receipts from the state would be this. I mean, are what we're expected on our draws a lot less than what we?
No, I can't
I
answer.
might be all wrong, and I'm a novice at this, but somebody helps me out. When we do this budget form, and we have Form 1 and pass something, and then Form 2, but basically they're gonna say you're gonna take in this much money, you're gonna pay out this much. And down at the bottom, there's a line that says you got this much money left over to start the new year with. And that new year didn't have a lot of money to start in it, and it's kind of the way things get paid out to us, is the only thing we're gonna have from the revenue flow, because we know property tax is gonna be a drag until collected, it won't be distributed, it's gonna be in late May, 1st June. But we have the gadget money coming in, it's gonna be that 120, 125, whatever was collected. We know that's a year behind, so they can close their books, so they know what they collected, so they know how to pay that out to you, providing they haven't made a mistake along the way and you get the benefit of what we just got the benefit of. And I assume this number even has that money's included in it.
It has the
Okay.
main cash money already into it.
Plus whatever they sent to us in addition.
Yeah.
Okay, so so that's all in there, we're still, but unless that bottom line going into that next year is at a certain level to carry you through, that's what you gotta run on. That and gadget money are those revenues that you're gonna receive monthly from the state, those distributions, that's what you've got until such time that property tax is collected and it is distributed and put out. So I think that bottom line, somewhere we gotta get that bottom line when we go from year to year, built up to help carry us through. I don't know quite how to do that yet, but
Well, the thing is, we operated like this for years, and then we got to where we made a pledge, we were going to operate in the black. And we did for a couple of years, consistently. And then this year, it just fell apart.
And I mean, I don't have an answer. I mean, when we estimate receipts on the budgets, I go in low on receipt, I mean, they're not overinflated one penny. I mean, I don't know. The state didn't cut the budget at all this year. They said you were good. And I can't think of anything.
I mean, we haven't done any big additionals or
No.
anything like that, and.
The only thing, oh, excuse me, Doc, I didn't
That's right,
mean to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
The only thing that I know that came in, but we knew it was gonna come in, that we didn't budget for it, was that we had to pay for the insurance, that one insurance claim that we had to pay out. And that is included, that's out of the county general, which is in that.
So it'd be about
Yeah, 340,000. Which we will get a little percentage of that back.
But that still would have been figured in the, but, I mean, not figured into the budgeted amount, but the budgeted amount's still there because that line's not in the hole.
No, but that was, no.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
There was 850,000 in that line.
That was strictly to take care of the amount that we would have for this year. That did not have the extra in it. I don't remember putting
Let
extra
me
in
ask you
it.
this, you know how you give us a progress look at each time the budget hearing? And in that, there's the percent spent up at this point in time. How much trouble would it be to run one of those so you could just go through it and see, just for the general fund, to see what percent of what was budgeted we've spent, so we can maybe identify where we've gone over. I mean, you can email it to us on that.
Michelle's perfect, total hours, his hours yet, for me.
No,
No.
So that's definitely about another 50 or 60.
I mean,
But
I
this
know
is,
we've already been asked that question.
this is probably our most negative time for us calendar. Because by June,
There was a time when we would have deficits that when the June draw came, it would be just a matter of a few days to be back in the red.
right, yeah, I mean, that's,
Oh, I can remember that.
yeah.
sir, did I understand you correctly to say that 300 some odd unexpected thousand on the insurance deal has already been paid out?
yes,
It was paid out. So his part of this 700, that would be
yes.
part of that normal, so we're really looking
Yeah,
at 400 versus
right.
the 700. Because we was talking about what we was gonna have to pay out, apparently we've already paid that
Her
out. didn't
point's
you?
well taken too, in that line item, there's still cash there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So that shouldn't have thrown us that 700,000. I would really like to see that thing though, where we see what each line in the budget for the general fund, what percent has been spent to this point.
Well,
I'll get that.
percentage wise about a month, but say 6 months, it's gonna buy half of the salaries appropriate, because we appropriate dollar for dollar on salary. So that would be 50% when 6 months is gone. And on the other things, it would be, yeah.
well, at least on a good note, I'll see back from the park here, that park, non-reverting is down to 81,000 now. Minus 81,000. On a good note, so they must be doing something down there, because they've cut that dramatically, that 140,000 down to. Of course, it's all in where the cash is going, it's all where the money's collected, is it in the bank, is, you know, it's where the money's flowing through the pipeline, it's all where it's at. Heard from Doc, anybody else got anything around this table you wanna bring up?
Cumulative Bridge Fund. Bridge 113, we had an instance last month where we had to pay a note that was due, and then the money was pulled out of the fund that we budgeted for expenditures and projects to be done for 2012 to pay off basically a note of a bridge that had been done for a couple of years. There's been a lot of discussion, people have been trying to find out, I think on the commissioners end, trying to figure out where that money wasn't budgeted at to take care of that note. I know that in February, when we first took office, Ben and some of the new ones in there, that we had this statement come in and they cut our bridge fund significantly. And at the particular time, we really didn't know or understand
Right.
what the significance of that cut is. I'm making an assumption here, okay? That part of that was cut was in there, was budgeted in there to repay that bridge note off. But the state board of accounts saw it was a higher percentage than what was actually a project need in there, so they kicked it out. Can I make that assumption?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, on the 1782, that was the only thing I think when we got it that year was
Right.
cut, was that bridge fund.
So I think this is when that
You
ball
said
started.
state board of accounts is DGL.
Correct.
DGL.
I think that that's where this ball started kicking, and then the commissioners in the next budget did put it back in their budget to take care of that note. Okay, the issue is today, we still have 2012 projects that the county highway department has said needs to be done to keep maintenance on the bridges. And we have depleted that fund to pay for an old note. How do we get that funds back in there? How do we get the highway department to be able to do that, or do we don't? You're not doing the repairs, you're not doing the bridge fund.
Ultimately, you'd have to raise that rate for the Cume Bridge fund. That's the only way you're gonna get more money in there. I mean, I don't know any other way.
Does that impact any other rates when you raise that one?
You
Did
raise
it?
It does. Now, you're saying that the bridge fund was lower
On the 1782 notice, when it came, they cut it.
on Cume Bridge? Last 30 years, it's been,
The tax rate's not been cut, the budgeted amount has been cut.
They took out about 100,
okay, I thought you said rate, okay.
I forget what
Not
the
the
budget
rate.
went in at, but they
Yeah.
cut it back to
Okay.
146 or something, if I recall.
yeah, it was pretty significant.
It was fairly significant. Yeah.
And we were recommended at the time not to challenge it back because usually you don't win
Yeah,
in that
and
case.
I think the
But I think
statement
we
was
let
that
something
Well,
slip.
I don't know that anybody really realized that we had the old bill to pay either.
I
mean,
think
don't
that's,
that ever came up for discussion during.
I think that was the problem. So, do we correct it now? How do we correct it? Are we able to correct it?
good question.
I'm gonna defer to the acting superintendent right now to address this, all right?
I would like to see, since it was, they couldn't let so much out of it in 11, I'm sure that's probably where the money was at, that's why it was so high. That give them a red flag. You cut it out, or,
took it back out. Everybody forgot about the payment, and now it comes up. I suggest, make a suggestion, you go to the bank, you borrow the money on 5 years, you budget for it in 13, pay it back that way. We definitely need the money back in the bridge fund. I think it was there in 11, I think it got cut out.
Yeah, the state
If
cut it
everybody
out.
would just, would have remembered this is why it's so high, and then told them that, they probably would have been all right with it. But that slipped through, it was cut.
So the money to pay that bill was not encumbered at the end of 2011?
It was cut out.
Yeah, but I mean, but that money was there, and if it had been encumbered, if someone had told the TGLF that the reason that's there is because we got a bill to pay, then that money would have been left alone, right?
Possibly, I think possibly. We didn't make the case.
Well, I don't think there was a case to make. You don't, if you wanna make a case now, yeah, you can go bond. And then you can tell DGOF, we got a service debt to make. I mean, that's what Rick's talking about doing, you're gonna go bond. Gerald, I'm sorry, is gonna be doing, if you go borrow the money from a bank, you're bonding. You're issuing a bond to a bank, and you're gonna have to go to the DGOF and say, okay, now we got a service debt, and DGOF, and they say, well, that's not our problem. We'll give you an X amount of dollars to pay your service debt, or we're gonna give you X amount of dollars in bridge rate, and depending on what your assessed valuation comes in, you're gonna draw that amount of money, and that's it. Now, sure, you wanna raise your rate, and petition your rate, you're gonna raise, you can do that. And yeah, I think they'll probably let you raise your rate. You can't cut your general fund rate.
So how do we fix it?
So, I think, I mean, the last time that the council met about this, last month, you guys talked about going in and borrowing it, or not borrowing it, but transferring it
$100,000
out of the edit money. And then when you get your draw, you put that back in there. Now, ultimately, yes, to get more money in there, you're gonna have to bite the bullet somewhere in your general fund and try to increase and come up with a basis for DGOF to approve a rate increase in your bridge fund. And that's either gonna go by resolution through us, through the commissioners, through both of us, asking the DGOF to allow us to do that. And depending upon what projects we have out there and what we don't have out there, they may say you can't, you can't.
Did the commissioners have a problem with this 100,000 coming out of the edit fund? Didn't I hear that? Because of your plans with the edit money?
How we're gonna use that 25%, we've gotta come up with a plan.
That's the 25% is economic development, right?
Other than the roads part.
Right.
And
Yes.
Yes, there was a problem, John, you're right. I mean, they
Does
had a
that problem
problem.
still exist? Is that gonna be a problem taking that money out of there? As far as the commissioners are concerned?
Well, either way, he's gonna get hurt on it.
We don't know. We
Right.
haven't discussed that yet. We're just in the process
Either way.
everybody's supposed to present what to be done with the 25%, other than the 75% when the road all that. One thing that David brought up, we discussed at the last meeting, was the fact that we shouldn't have to come up in more of these surprises. And so we asked Sarah if she could each month tell us what our debts, what we're indebted to, so we don't know. These things come up at the last minute that everybody forgot about. So whether it's truck purchases or bridge, whatever we're in debt, we need to know at the start of each month. So she's gonna get that for us starting our next meeting. That'll help. Then we don't have to worry about forgetting about something like this.
So we need to know if we can even pull it from that fund.
Well, we don't know. That's just,
Okay.
John, Tom Saunders spoke with
I've
Mark.
already talked to Tom.
Well, I mean, talked with, this, Mr. Clark here already, so is there, maybe ask him if there's a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the issue, the issue you do is if we borrow from the bank, you're doing a bond. I mean, we'll have to go through a bonding process to get that approved. And then, like I said already, you're gonna end up having as part of your bridge account, a debt service obligation. I mean, it's much cleaner to do what we suggested doing last time.
We passed a motion last time to take it from that ed, but I'm wondering if we're gonna have to change that motion.
I mean, what you end up doing is taking the 100,000 that you have in edit now, going ahead and paying that debt, which is $80-some-odd thousand. And when they get, when the settlement comes in, that money comes back to edit out of cumulative bridge. Now, that's gonna leave cumulative bridge $87,000 shorter, or whatever the final figure is, at this point. But ultimately, the only way you're gonna get more money into cumulative bridge is to raise the rate and hope that your assessed value maintains and goes up. Part of the issue that we've had, as you guys know, is assessed value for 2 years went down, or last year went down.
Was that
Yeah,
paid
assessed
last
value
month?
was down last year.
Was that paid last month?
It went back up this year, but at least last year it went down. I think the year before it was down.
Was that money paid out of that fund already?
I have not transferred
You haven't?
the 100,000 to the bridge fund yet, because I was told to hold
Yeah,
up.
And
commissioners.
the bill hasn't been paid then?
Yes, the
bill
bill has
has
been
been
paid.
The bill has been paid?
Yes.
So you took it out of Ellis?
No, I took it out of the Q Bridge.
So your cum,
That's
so
right,
that's
the
why
cum
your
bridge
cum
is
bridge.
down.
That's why it's so
Okay.
small.
That's the reason this is down.
Or $87,000.
Gerald, the bridges are on the schedule, right? Year to year, a certain bridge to be maintained or at least worked on. How many bridges do you have this year?
There was 3 this year that was to be tore out and replaced with culverts.
Okay.
And if it's in, like it is now, that won't be able to happen.
You know what that total amount was that was for those?
Not for sure off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bridge inspections are paid out of the bridge.
Yes,
fund.
the inspection is paid out of the bridge.
Have they been inspected this year?
It will start up again. I don't know, Gerald, have you talked to them? Will we owe some of the bridge inspection this year? Okay. That started, anything had.
I believe that figure in there as well.
Yeah, well,
The figure for it?
The bridge inspection, I believe that's a low figure. I think it's gonna be more than that.
I mean, to me, the major thing is that we need to worry about is the bridge inspection. The other, I know they had bridges on to do this year, but hopefully they could hold off and maybe work on them next year or the year after, or do one next year and then do the other one the year after that. But I know we do have to worry about the bridge inspection, because yes, that is coming up on the bridge inspection.
So that hadn't been paid out yet?
No, there's nothing been done on the bridge inspection.
Well, we had on.
But the money is, I mean, when you borrow the 100,000, like Mark says, out of the edit money, by the end of the year, that 100,000 is gonna be put back in there.
Right. So it's a warshout. Where we at on the bridge inspection, dollar wise?
I don't know, 'cause I don't know how,
Is it up yet? Wait, the three
you're talking,
individual
I don't
bridge inspection
handle that.
or just one?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
And then the 3-year
We have the county.
on a bid on it, bridge inspection?
You're talking out of my control, that's Commissioner's baby.
I think you're right. But is that up now? Is that what Sarah's saying? It's up now?
I don't think so.
I don't know what phase we're in with the
It's like the second year
Just because you look at it.
I don't disagree with you. That's the nature of it.
That's the last.
Yeah.
That's last. There, it's just like the mark last month.
I don't have it.
Okay.
I don't, it's what you guys have done.
What have we got?
This is where we money.
I guess the question, it kind of goes back, well,
These guys take it.
yeah, what do commissioners really want to do? Do they want to
Last
borrow the
I knew it
money
was
from a
hung up
bank?
on it.
That's all I knew was to hold up on it, because I didn't know what they,
You wanna
what the
hold?
council was gonna do.
We'll have to decide our next meeting.
I mean, does the council want to go borrow?
Let's wait and let the commissioners decide what they want to do. Maybe they can delay some projects till next year, which is on top of the Cambridge, rate. If they decide they want to do everything this year, then we'll have to come up with money somewhere.
You say raise, and then resolution, raise the rate.
So your next meeting is
Yeah,
tomorrow,
that's the general fund rate, but
and you guys will make a decision about whether you want to borrow the money to take care of the
How we're
issue,
gonna have it.
or whether we want to go ahead to direction that we talked about in our last meeting, because it's really. Speaking of that, before I go around the room, who wants to attend the commissioners meeting tomorrow?
It's not tomorrow, it's the 15th.
Oh, it's 15th, I'm sorry. 15th.
I guess I'll go.
I'll go with you, give you support. So Ben and John will hold
Call
hands.
and remind me, it's all the way to the 15th.
If we had that calendar together.
That's just what I was
Be
thinking.
notified, get a chirp at you, and another.
He would never look at the computer to check on the calendar.
It would ring on mine.
I don't have the calendar or Terry
You
has.
said it
If
so it
there's
reaches
nobody else
out
around
and
this
grabs
table here that has anything, I'm gonna move on to Mr. Fultz. Mr. Fultz, you have anything to contribute today?
No, I
sir?
just, at our last meeting, we were told by Gerald and the highway department that now the tornado debris down there at Pekin was about 300 ton removed. And I think Gerald told us that he's expecting about $115,000 back from FEMA as our repayment, which probably won't cover everything, but that's the way the percent works. And then I noticed, or said earlier about, David had brought up about not knowing these surprises like the bridge thing, and so that instigated the thing of asking Sarah if we could have a month-by-month report of our debts, which would keep us from not knowing about some of these things in the past. So that's a good idea.
Okay, anything else, John?
That's about it.
Any questions for John?
No, I didn't have one question. Back to Gerald. Gerald, is there any figure yet on, I guess one of the biggest things would be, well, first of all the work county did was in kind, right? That was just county work. No money involved there, right?
You talking about tornado?
Yeah,
Yeah. We're gonna get reimbursed
through FEMA,
through FEMA.
but as far as.
Not for all of it, for part of
Like the burn.
it. We gotta pay,
And that, so is there any figure together on that part with the dozers and loaders, all that?
the burden's gonna cost about 55,000-60,000.
What about the?
The landfill's gonna be about 10
What?
out of that landfill.
And then
We
what
gotta pay
about
all that, the rest of it will be off.
the burner, you're counting equipment in, besides the burner equipment, you're counting the dozers and loaders?
Yeah, that was, for that,
Okay, about 50, 60?
yes.
The other question there? Mr. Lee?
Last commissioner meeting, we brought up an issue with animal control, seeing about if I could get more money for my part-time helpers, so I could use them more. Don't have to work about 60, 70 hours a week. I'm not sure you,
Okay, it's,
I've got it, the guy that I got now is budgeted for 2,000. He's a retired gentleman, truck driver. He told me if I could get in the budget an additional 5,000, he would help me all year round, 7 days a week if I needed it.
And that's something you've addressed with the commissioners?
Just commissioners, and I believe Mr. Moore was there.
Recommendation, just be done.
Do what now?
The commissioners went along with his idea, proposal of Dexter.
So is that something you're proposing in the budget for next year, or?
Maybe get it now if possible.
Right now, I can't see right offhand where we're going forward.
Did you guys have something in mind for how you might be gonna pay for that money, John, if you guys approve that?
I think we'll add, what, $2,000 per week for replacing,
Do what now?
relieving Randy during Fair Week. $2,000, I think, was in the budget for that. But, most of the work seems to be done by the county. What percent of the dogs and animals?
Like 75%, 78%.
Great majority of the work seems to be done by the county, and the city's not doing that much work, so there needs to be some kind of meeting between the city and the county to get some inequities sorted out.
Is that something the commissioners would handle? I mean, you're getting $2,000 right now that's in your budget. for
Right.
this gentleman. So you're looking for a $3,000 additional?
No,
Another five, so you're looking at a total of 7.
Yes.
And did I hear you say just a minute ago, you guys had approved doing that additional 5 for this year? or
We
something?
thought it was a good idea.
You thought it was a good idea?
Yeah, the commissioners approved it. It's up to you guys, what you think to do.
Okay, so did you guys have any thoughts about where that 5,000 might come from?
I don't think we didn't discuss where it would come from.
They are the legislative body of the county.
The thing about it, thing about this dog pound and this animal control thing in there, it depends on what government you talk to about who's putting the most money and the time in this thing. You know, the city has brought up an issue as far as they're being overcrowded and stuff right now, to go ahead and bring in a building in there to expand that, maybe double the size of it. They've changed the policy, they're not euthanizing these dogs in 3 days, they're waiting longer. It actually multiplied by 10 times the amount of animals that they have in the shelter. There's a lot of issues there, you know, and we've got the rabid dogs that still have to be kept, you know, and quarantined, you know, for health reasons, and the health department's involved in this. We've looked at temporary solutions for temporary cages, maybe at the fairgrounds. Well, that got kind of shot down.
Randy said that couldn't be done because of the drainage over there.
Yeah, you got the waste and stuff, you have to consider.
So, you know, where are we at with the city? Where are we at with the number of animals in there? And there's been visits, commissioners that's visited Harrison County, they got the same issue of overcrowding, but they're probably 4 times the size.
Well, that was my understanding from the city, and I may be totally wrong here, Randy, you might know the answer to this, but I think the city runs the animal shelter.
Yeah.
And we contribute $20,000 a year to that fund, or for funding that.
And Randy.
Hey, Randy.
I mean, that's an additional.
Okay, Randy, we'll take this under consideration. I think we're gonna make a decision today, because with all the other funding issues that come up today, I don't know. We got a lot of things to work through. You shared the meeting, so you understand the process of where we're at, so, that's just something Michelle will know. Mr. Browning?
Just at the last park board meeting, Jerome said the numbers were way up as far as reservations for the summer. He didn't, it just had opened when we met last, so there wasn't any figures to bring you guys, but he said compared to reservations last summer to now, it's crazy, the phones are ringing off the hook, so word of mouth is out there about the park and good things going on out there, so.
That's good. And Jerome and the board both is to be commended. I look at this 81,000 number and it's a really good number. I just hope they had a lot of bills that's not turned in, just go drive it the other way. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a good number. I think they've been doing down. It was just when it was going to wash through that things were going to diminish. And I think that's where we're at. I think they're doing a tremendous job out there, so. And Rhonda? Gerald?
If you take the 100 out of it, you'll take it out of 75, it's already funded for the blacktop, or you take it out of 25 is left.
Well, it doesn't matter where we take it out of because it's gonna get put back. So if we take it out of the 100, out of the 75, you're still gonna have your full amount to blacktop with, because as soon as it hits in the Kuhn Bridge Fund from the state, it's gonna go right back into where it came from.
When's that gonna happen?
It's settled. It's the only thing I can tell you.
Is that gonna-
If we do it that way.
That's really one
Well, I'm
main.
But you're not losing this concept that it's gonna cost blacktop money is incorrect.
Well, what month is it going to be put back in there, is what I'm asking.
It'll be put in whatever pot it comes out of.
Well,
What month?
What month? He's worried about black.
Well, whenever
You
settlement.
can't blacktop, in
Right.
the winter time.
I understand that, but I can't, I mean, Michelle, I'm not, that's, June settlement is, I mean, bills went out in May, we should have a March settlement.
See, you'll be all right.
The 100 will be a washout, yes. The bridge fund's still gonna be.
The
fine,
bridge
right?
fund is still gonna be low, that's the bigger issue, that's correct.
Right.
But in terms of blacktopping, your amount of money that's budgeted right now for blacktopping hasn't been touched.
Why was it a problem for the commissioners to do it that way?
I have no idea.
Why was it a problem to do it that way?
Because of the edit plan?
To take it from the edit plan, pay the bill, as soon as the settlement comes in, take it back, put it back in edit.
It doesn't change your edit plan because it doesn't change the bottom line dollars. Now, yeah, we had a May tax bill, so we should have, if the state does what it does, and I respect what everybody says about the state, which is not always favorable. But yeah, we should have a June.
It will be a June
Settlement.
settlement. No ands, ifs.
Well, don't say that.
No, it
because-
will be a June settlement.
He is the applicant, I think, mine. Both seconds. Spring it. Gerald, do you have anything else? Marcia, yourself?
I'd like to know how Rick is getting along. Bring us up to date.
The last I heard, they postponed the surgery again on his stomach. He's on a feeding tube. He's on dialysis. They're thinking about sending him home and then taking him back for the surgery later on. I'm not sure when they're thinking about sending him or when they're thinking about sending him back up there. I know he's getting really aggravated about having to be up there.
Anybody knew with what he went through.
They gave him on pretty much a liquid diet, I guess you'd say, and he's not getting his strength back very quick on that.
But his lungs is
I think his lungs are working pretty good, yes. But everything else is just went.
Gerald, what's a mile blacktop gonna cost this year?
58,000.
Have you started that new process yet where they're doing that,
It's
deal?
gonna go up, it's probably gonna go up. We
That
done
new-
some sealing on the road, Monday or Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah.
Ron was up there, got some pictures of it. Looks like it might work. It'll take a year to find out.
That's what I was gonna say, be back now before we really know the
It
impact.
looked like it might work
Okay, good.
on some of the places that wasn't terribly bad.
Terribly bad,
Some of the
yeah.
alligator places.
Yeah,
Right.
that's understood. Sarah?
Yeah, I have one thing. I'm gonna come up so I won't have to yell. I know my voice carries anyway, but I'm gonna just maybe yell.
Only when you get excited.
Yeah, that's quite all, no, it's not quite. I went to the Southeast District meeting last month, which they had a, meeting on with the 911, how it was gonna come about, what we was gonna have to do. And it was a very interesting meeting, and I did learn a lot from it. Desi went with me also, and Shirley Back went also. And we did learn from it. We did information, our revenues had to be in there by, well, actually it was late getting our revenues in there, because I thought it was one day when I went to the meeting. It was supposed to be in the week before, and I thought, oh, that the purpose of me going to the meeting was so I could find out all the information that I could get from it. So when we got back, we did send the revenues up there. We had to send from 9, 10, and 11. And this is just the landlines only. It's not the cell phones or the other that we get from the reimbursement from the state. This is landline only, is what they're wanting. So we sent the information in, and then they take that and they divide it by 3. And they said then you can kind of go by that to see that's how much money then our county or your counties would get back. When we sent it in and we divided it by 3, ours came up to $580 around that. Hopefully we could get more. We shouldn't get any less than that, but we could possibly get more than that.
Repeat those figures.
$177,538. Sorry, I had it mixed around.
Thank you.
Okay, and starting in July, then they also told us the landlines will be paying 90 cents for your landline, landlines, and 90 cents will be paid out of cell phone. And I assume that is each, so I didn't ask that, if it was each cell phone, or if it was like we have 2 cell phones. I have one, each one, or if it's just on the bill that is. I assume it's probably each cell phone would be paid 90 cents. And then on the prepaid cards, that's going to be 50 cents that they will be paying in. So I thought it was good. Of course, I guess we'll wait and see when July comes in and we get our first draw and see how much money we do get.
So are we gonna be able to get enough money to pay back the money that we've already, to support 911, we borrowed from here to there?
Well, I think that's why they wanted this, so it will continue maybe to support, your 911.
Understand part of the difference is the money for 911 is not going to come to the county anymore.
Right.
From the landlines, it'll go to the state, and the state's going to end up divvying it out. And their system right now is to use an average of the last 3 years.
Right. You're right.
Now, again,
Which
we all
our
know,
average.
I roll my eyes because
Yeah.
we all know what the state did with
Yeah.
Catch and Catch.
Right.
Catch and that.
You can tell, because 2009, revenues, we had 191,000. In 10, it dropped to 188. And 11, you can really tell the difference in 11 because it dropped to 152,000. So that's where it really dropped.
So by averaging that out,
It
did
came up to
everybody, did Desi
177.
and yourself and all parties concerned feel like there was gonna be enough money coming back in to support?
Well, we're hoping so.
Okay.
Hope so.
For 1 year maybe. But Sarah, okay, we're $1.52 now.
Mhm.
So what you're saying, we're gonna be paying $2.42, right?
No, you're going to pay 90 cents.
Drop
They're
The state-
dropping it to
the
90
state-
cents.
It dropped to 90?
Yes.
Well,
The state, when they took it over, in essence, the state just came in and said, what you did on a local level, previously under all the statutes, is out. We're setting the amount. And the amount's gonna be 90 cents per landline. Don't ask me how they came up with that. That's what they're gonna do.
Doesn't matter how they came up with it, but if we're going in the hole now, $1.52.
Well, you're gonna be getting revenues for other counties you're not getting right now, that's the premise.
It's
The-
average.
They average it out, other counties may be getting way more than they need to support, and they're gonna do, supposedly, that's the thought
I
process.
mean, that's a good thing of the day.
So,
We'll see.
Well, and I didn't realize this, there were some counties that had way over $1 million
Yeah, because they
Invested.
started out and they had money
in
coming
there,
in.
in there. So I just like, they're probably, they'll put it on a big pool and then it.
Yeah.
I remember very well when we started that out.
We went for max. I remember Mark said we were going for max.
Yeah.
Don't blame it on me.
Yeah.
We all agree, yeah. We figured the max, and the council agrees. Thinking in a couple of years, we could drop it back down because the max would be more than enough. a lot of years.
Well, the long and the short is, hopefully, we will get enough funding to bail us out of where we're at with that past debt, so to speak, plus run us
Well, they predicted in
with
2
money we
years,
we-
you won't even have a landline, it'll be cell phones.
It's money that 911 borrowed from somebody else. So,
Or that
if
people
that
that
debt
have
was at an
landlines, they'll be
incorrect
going
term, then-
digital or something that you won't have your landlines.
How are you gonna get around that 911 stuff?
Well, it'll be either on your cell phones, the charge on your cell phones.
Well, they raised the rate on cell phone. We was only
Yeah.
at 60 cents.
Yeah.
They raised it to 90, so
Yeah.
they raised it, there's more cell phones, so even. the
And if they
situation-
start putting it on prepaid, 'cause
And
I don't
prepaid,
know that
because
it's
prepaid
ever
wasn't
been
getting
prepaid
anything.
before.
Right,
And see, the biggest section of your cell phone industry now is
yes.
prepaid.
Mhm.
Okay. So by putting 50 cents on prepaid, that's, and if it's every time you go and get additional minutes,
And that's
that's
what it's
gonna
supposed to
collect a
be.
lot of money.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. Every time you go and get your minutes, you're gonna get charged the 50 cents.
That'll generate some money.
Yeah.
We'll all get
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, just hopefully we'll be covered in that respect and not have to worry about otherwise. Sarah, you got any other good news?
No, that was it.
That was good news.
That is good news, thank
So
you.
hopefully with that,
Thank you for
911
going
and
up there. I know
then,
some of us
or
wanna
with
go.
this, and then with the other revenue that we get from the state on the cell phones, that, you know, it will keep 911 hopefully,
Yeah.
keep it afloat now.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some pressure on you, Sabrina. You're the only thing between us and closing this meeting out.
Hey, just a comment, you guys have been given a lot of information from the partnership in the last couple of meetings. So if you have any questions about any of it, please call us or come by the office, I'm always there, so just anything that you need, just let me know.
Appreciate that.
just won't get ready, budget's done.
I know, I'm hoping to have everybody July meeting.
I'd really like to come up with some solutions.
Yeah, well, I would too, for a lot of different things that we discussed. I would.
Do you think you can email that? thing?
Yeah, I'll try to get it out all
Yeah,
this.
that'd be good.
I'm delaying the closing.
No, we adjourn.
Huh?
So you wanna announce what your next
Announce
meeting?
something else?
Well, announce the next meeting's gonna be at, June what,
It's June 4th.
we had the calendar. now.
June the 4th.
Yeah.
June
Fourth.
4th,
Little York,
At Little York, what
at
time?
Little York.
What
The
time?
exec is at 6:30 p.m. and the open will be at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yep.
And John, you'll be
6:30.
absent, correct? You'll be absent. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
We'll move.
Second? Meeting adjourned.
You said 6:30.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
And what time? CS people and stuff out there.
On what piece?
So you gonna bring a birthday cake in?
Say like
I asked him that, I asked him if Ken didn't.
I'll have to shoot you.
Evening.
Whose birthday is it coming, yours, Dawson?
It's, they're all mornings.
It'll be your birthday? It'll be your
Yeah,
birthday?
15.
June.
They start at 8, I believe.
You know, it's like $10.
But there's things like,
You can go over there. You got
Well, we have to celebrate.
It's all working. You've got documents, you've got presentations, you've got the website.
Then they start at 9 o'clock.
So it's very,
It was good. We were concerned about you. Commented about your weight loss. Well, last night you were last meeting, not.
you can set up a calendar.
I gotta start my guys at 7. I got here about 7:35 or something. Yeah, I knew it was that soon. I asked him. Certain places, certain times. And I can't, we're making the same amount of money on it.
So you don't have to take
sales tax is
don't
up, there are some of
actually
these
possibly get excuses.
Yeah, he's basically on his table.
Or whatever, say, look, here's some rules, you can listen once a month, or once a week, or whatever. But it's up to them, you don't get the phone call, like, it just, I don't like it, you know? Well, it's interesting, you know how you're represented.
We haven't really got figured out how we're gonna deal with that.
You know, when they, if they do set up an account, it's not only, will it, you know, if they want it just to go on the government calendar, they can. But that information can go, that government calendar will go to your site
NRCS
also.
called me on the carpet.
You can link it all together.
Running draws.
And, like I said, maps and everything.
He should.
It's all-
I can imagine what that's.
So, I mean, if you're,
Put all that in the computer.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Been hanging.
So I don't have Joe Clark.
I'm getting.
I am, I'm getting ready
I
to
don't
go.
have any choice.
Start talking about the transplants. Hold on until after August, we get the budget behind us.
I can do individual groups. I can do, I can do it on mass. You can actually play with it.